Thank you. All right. So after we can identify the location, what else do we need? We need to tell the robot to go to location, bring column to walker. So it doesn't seem like there's any other data that we need to put in our objects. And then when we stock a new product, we need to assign ID, which we have, right? We have the ID in there and assign location. So again, that's row, column, height. So we have that. And then we need to tell the robot to put it there. So there's no extra data in here. And then return, we have to tell the robot to put it back. Again, no extra data. And then the warehouse, when we have a new product, we have to assign the row, column, and height, right? This is like a helper method to maybe put in the product or put in the columns. But then again, it's the same data, row, column, height, and we already have that. We already have it in column. So there's no need for any other data, right? Do you guys see any other data that we need? Probably not. All right, well, then if there's no extra data to be saved, that means we don't need to add any extra variables in here. Oh, also, I want to make this quick, so I'm gonna make everything public. That's just because I want to quickly access those without coding out like the 15 getter and setter method. But just so you know, these are all supposed to be private if you're really doing it. I'm just trying to save some time so that we can finish this today. So I'm just gonna make them all public for now. Just remember that these are supposed to be private, but I'm kind of short on time. So if we don't have extra variables we need for the data, then we can start to code the actions. Now, usually when you code the actions, you usually kind of want to have a bottom-up approach. So look at which object is the simplest, right? Because if you are starting from the most complex, like if you're starting from the warehouse, then potentially there's going to be interactions between the column, the robot, and product down below, right? So then you have to, like, let's say, retrieve a product. Oh, what's the interaction between the other three products? Well, the robot have to pick up the shelves, right? So that's another function that you have to code that is not coded yet. So you might get confused if you go from top to bottom. So usually we like to go from bottom to top. So if we look at product, we're saying, okay, there's no action, right? So we don't have to code any function for that class. Column, also no action, right? Because products and columns are just kind of there, waiting to be picked up, waiting to be assigned a ID, assigned a location. So they don't really doing much, right? Now, the next one, the next complex one is robot. So what does robot do? Robot needs to go to the row and column and pick the shelves up, right? So not only go there, but also pick it up. So then robot will have at least two functions. We're gonna be like public pickup column, public void pickup column, and then we're gonna pass in a column in pickup column. And then what we do, we just do our column is just gonna be equals to this column, right? We're just picking it up. So, oh, this, yeah. In C++, we use self dot. something something. In Java, we use this dot. And of course, when you pick it up, you have to put it down. Actually, putting it down, I kind of want to make sure that I know what column is being put down. So I'm going to return a column and simply, I'm just simply going to do column col equals to this dot call, and this dot call equals to null, right? That means I have put it down, or temp. I have put this column down at the temp location, and then I'm setting the robot that's carrying the column to be null, and then I'm just going to return this temp column. It's basically telling other people like, oh, I already put this down. And then of course we have to tell the robot, go to the row and column, right? So public void go to, that's going to be int row, int call. And then I'm just going to say robot is going to row plus column. I'm just going to print it out because realistically, we need to like actually code out all the code to instruct robot to go somewhere, but that's going to take more than our class time. So I'm just going to print it out for now. So that's pretty much what the robot does, right? It's going to pick up a column, put down a column, and then go to a place, right? So that's what the robot does. Now, we went through product, do nothing, column, do nothing, and we did robot. Now we can actually look at the warehouse. Warehouse has 3 functions and maybe a helper function that's assigning row, column, height. So let's do it chronologically. So when you have a product, right? When you have a new product, you have to stock it, and then you can retrieve it, and then you can return it. So let's implement stock first, because that's the first thing when we get a new product. That's the first thing we do. So where's warehouse? Warehouse, we can do public void stock, and then we're stocking what? We're stocking a new product. So when we stock a new product, we have to assign a ID, right? Assign row, column, well, assign an ID and assign the location, which is the row, column, height. So we can do, maybe I'm just gonna do random r equals to new random, and then int id equals to r dot next int. I'm just gonna assign a random int as id. I mean, obviously in real situations, the company is gonna have a whole system of assigning IDs, right? So what I'm doing here is I'm assigning ID. And then this new product ID is going to be ID plus empty string. So by concatenate this int with an empty string, this casts this ID, this integer ID to a int. And then we want to assign position, assign location. So what does it mean assigning a location? It means pick a column that has space in it, right? Pick a column that has space, pick a shelf that has space in it, and then assigning that shelf to this product, and also assign this product to the shelf, right? It's like mutual. The shelf contains this product, and this product belongs to the shelf. So to do something like this, because this might potentially be complex, so sometimes we want to make a helper function like this. So we want to see which one is available, right? So we're going to go through our columns. And see which column is available. So if columns dot get I is available, then we just want to return columns dot get I. Obviously, right now we don't know what's defined as available. I am definitely spelling this wrong. Available. Yeah, obviously, like in different situation, right? We're gonna find like there's gonna be different definition of, oh, this column has space versus this column doesn't have space. So now, because we don't have that information, I'm just gonna say, let's just randomly pick a column. So how do I randomly do that? Well, I'm gonna have a random, and then int index is gonna be r.next int. So I'm gonna pick a random number that's between 0 and the column size. And then I'm just going to return that columns.get index. So basically, I'm just picking a random column out of my array list. Because right now, we don't know which one is available or not. So now we can just do column available equals to find available column. Right? That means this one has space. So now we're going to put the product onto that there. What does that mean? That means available dot product dot add product or new Perl. Right? The column add the product onto it, and then new Perl dot column equal to available. Right? Again, it's like mutual relationship. And then what else do we need? Let's double check. So we have the warehouse, we have the column, we have the ID. Oh yeah, we haven't set the ID yet. Oh no, we did. So product has the ID. We're assuming the product name is going to be there. We got the column. The robot doesn't come into place because right now the thing is not being moved. And the warehouse. Oh yeah, we got to set the warehouse. And then we can just do new Perl dot warehouse equal to this. See, I'm using this keyword this. That's just referring to this warehouse class. So when I create a warehouse instance, and then I'm calling the stock method for that warehouse instance, the new pros warehouse is going to be automatically set to be that particular instance. So this is another way of using the keyword this. We'll see more example next Monday. And then what else does product need? I think product need, that's it, right? What about column? Column doesn't seem like we need anything. All right, so We get the product there. We set the product at the column. And then we set the product at the warehouse. Now the robot will have to go get the, go retrieve the column. And then we can put the column, we can put the product on the shelf and then put the column back, right? So now we need another function, find a available robot. Again, I'm just going to have a random. It's not robots. I'm going to just get a random robots because I don't know what it means to be so that the robot is. Actually, I do know if the robot is available. Yeah, I do know, right? In this case, we do know if the robot is available. The robot is available when this robot put down a column. So the robot's column is null. So we can actually figure out which one it is. So int I equals 0, I equals I smaller than robots dot size I plus plus if robots dot call. Is that the, yeah, robot dot call is null, return robot. Wait, no, return robots dot get I. Robot dot get I dot call. There we go. Robots. So robots that get I get that particular robot, and then we're gonna check if that column is null. Because if it's null, it means that this robot hasn't picked anything up. Then we're gonna return that particular robot. But if everybody's busy, then we're just gonna return null. And now, so we can do this. If find, we can do robot available robo equals to find available robot. I'm just gonna copy paste here. I'm pretty sure, there we go. I'm pretty sure I mistyped it. So if available robo is not null, that means we do have something available. Then we can do available robo dot pickup column. And then this column is going to be the available column, right? Because we just assigned the product there. And then once it pick it up, it's going to bring it here. So human will put product on shelf. Actually, this will be inside here. Human will put product on shelf, and then available robot dot go to available dot row available dot call. So go back there and then available robo dot put down column. There we go. So it will pick up the column. So during this time, this robot will no longer be available. And then after the human put the stuff on there, obviously there's no way for us to code that. And then we're just going to tell the robot go to the row and column and then put it down so that this available robot is available again. So that is stock product. So we have product that we want to stock. We assign an ID. We find a available column. We assign the product to that column. And we also assign the product's warehouse to be this particular warehouse. And then we find a available robot. We're gonna bring it here, put it down, and yada, 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 right? So that is stock. Now, what are we gonna do with retrieve? So product pro. So we want to retrieve this particular product. So what are we going to do? Well, column call equals to pro.call, right? Because if this product is in the warehouse, we assign a column to it, so we know exactly where that column is. So we can just get the products column, retrieve that, and then we can just tell the robot to go there. So again, we can do robot available robo, find available robot. And if this thing is not null, and then what do? We want to go there. We want to go there. I guess up here, we want to go to the column. We want to go there, pick it up, and then go there, put it down. So here, we're going to do the same. We want to go there. So basically the same situation here. Go there, pick it up, go there, put it down. So now you can see that there is repeated code again. And that's not good, right? Because if this procedure ever needs to change, then we have to make this into, we have to change it to different spots. You have to remember, right? Oh, I code the picking up column, putting down here. I also coded here. So I have to change it to different places. If you don't remember it, like maybe in here, you have to available robo dot something something. And then you forgot to change it here. Now there's going to be a bug in your system, right? So you typically you don't want to have repeated code, and that's what the function is for. So you can have another private function. And this one, we're just going to say pick up and put down. We're just going to call it like that. So who's doing the pickup? Some robot is doing the pickup. Picking up what? We're picking up some column. And then we can just copy paste that code into here. And then instead of available robo, now it's robo. Instead of, well, column is still column. So this robot is going to pick up and put down this particular column. So now we can just use this function in place of all those code. Pick up, put down. Who's doing the pickup? Available robo. What column are we picking up? Column available. And then down here, who's doing the pickup? Again, available robo. And picking up what? Picking up the column. Right? But once this is picked up, once this is successfully picked up, what does that mean? That means this product no longer belongs to this column. And this column no longer have this product. So we have to do product.call equals to null, right? Because that product is gone. and then the column dot products. We gotta remove the product, Pro. That's retrieve. Right? We get the column from the product because the product knows which column it belongs. And then we just tell the robot to pick it up. And once it's successfully picked up, then the product no longer belongs to that column. And then the column can remove that product. And then the last one we need to do is return. Return product. So this means like the customer doesn't want this, right? The customer no longer want this product and he sends it back. Now, if you think about that process, think about that like the customer. So when we retrieve this product and when we send it out, the warehouse no longer have this product, although it has a, I guess it has a, it still has the ID of that, right? It still has the ID. So when you return that product back, we still know the ID assigned. We still know the ID that's assigned, but the column, the shelf might already be occupied. So we probably need to give it a new shelf. Right? So the difference between return product and stock is really just assigning this new ID. Because here the product is a new product, that's why it needs a new ID. And then we find a column and we pick it up and put it down. But for the return product, it's not a new product, but we still have to find a shelf. We still have to go return it, put it down, right? So the whole process is going to be similar than this. So we're just going to copy paste. And then instead of new Pro, this one's Pro. That's the return product. But you know what's coming, right? This and this are kind of like copy pasted code again. Right? This assign the product location and put it there. So we kind of want to build a private function so that we don't do this multiple times. I'm just going to call this assign product location. And then what's the product? That's a Pro. And then we just want to copy paste everything in here. Return product, really we're just assign product location with the Pro. And then up here, instead of doing all this, we're also just going to do assign product Pro. So the difference between return product and stock is really just giving a new ID. Oh, this is not Pro, this is new Pro. Right, does this all make sense, kinda? in this hypothetical situation? It's kind of like telling a story, right? It's, oh, what are you gonna do with retrieve? Oh, we have to find available robot and then pick up the column, put it down, and then remove the product from that shelf. And then what we want to do when we are stocking a new product, we assign a that ID and then we put the product at the location. What does that mean? That means find a available column, assign the column to the product, and also add the product to the column, and then find available robot and then pick it up, put it down, right? It's kind of like a storytelling. So now that we finished the 3 functions of our warehouse, retrieve, stock, return, we can actually start to code the user interface, right? That's when we get to the main class. So how do we interact with this warehouse object with a user? Well, usually, right, in the modern world, there's going to be some UI, right? The user interface, right? Either website or handheld device. But here we're just going to use scanner. But the point is, if there's a device that the user is holding, well, that means there is an actual object, like either device holding or a website on the screen. That's an object, right? So I kind of want to create a new class because it is object. I want to create a new class just called warehouse UI, warehouse user interface. And just finish with that. And in here, what am I going to have? I'm going to have the warehouse that I'm working with. And then I'm going to have the constructor. Oh, did I miss the E? Yeah, I definitely missed the E. The constructor, I'm just going to take a warehouse, and then I'm just going to assign my warehouse to be that warehouse. Return type. What return type? There's no warehouse. There's no return type. That's a constructor. I think I need to save it. Still not happy. Return type is missing. Where did I spell this? W-A-R-E-H-O-U-S-E, W-A-R-E-H-O-U-S-E, W-A-R-E. Oh, it should be warehouse UI. Yeah, that's right. Warehouse UI. That's the class name. The class name is warehouse UI. I'm just going to simply put it there. And then I'm going to have another function called interface. Whoa, that's a keyword. So everything is going to be done inside this user interface. So what does that mean? That means we're going to have a scanner to wait for user input. Control-Shift-O, there we go. And this is uppercase S. And we're just gonna have a while loop, like an infinite while loop. Just keep waiting for the user command, right? So what are the commands we have? Retrieve, stock, or return. Oh my gosh, hold on. I need to slow down. Okay, so the string command equal to scan dot next line, right? The user will put in either retrieve, stock, or return, and then that command is going to be one of those. Or maybe quit. Let's also put in quit. So the command is going to be either one of those four things. So now we can just do if command dot equals retrieve. We're going to do something. Actually, I'm going to start with stock, right? Because stock comes first, and then this retrieve. So if this is stock, else if command dot equals retrieve. Else if command dot equals return, else we're just gonna break. So either quit or anything else, we're just gonna stop. So if it's stock, then we're gonna ask product name, and then string p name equals to scan dot next line. So we're gonna put in the product name. Once we put in the product name, you can create a new product, a new pro, new pro.name equals to p name. And then we can simply just say warehouse dot stock new pro. And maybe in the warehouse I will say, I'm just gonna print something so we actually know what's happening. So new pro.name is stocked at new pro dot column dot row and new, so that's the aisle, new pro dot column dot column. So we're saying this new product name is put at this aisle and this column number of the shelf, right? This new pro dot column, that's the shelf that we put the product on. And then the shelf has a row and column value to locate where the shelf is. So that's what this is. And then in here, so after the stock, retrieve. Again, we want to retrieve a product name. And then in the warehouse, we want to see which product are we talking about, right? So for int I equals 0. Remember where the, I think I'm missing something. Assign product. Oh yeah, I'm definitely are missing something. Stock assign product. Yeah, I'm missing the, let me think. No, I think we're good. I think we're good. So when we want to retrieve a product, we have to find the product. So how do we find the product? We're going to look at all the columns, all the shelves in the warehouse, right? And then we want to look at if that shelf contains that product. So it's going to look something like this. I know it's getting pretty complex. So we're looking at all the columns here. And then we can get all the shelves, we can get the shelves. And then the shelves has a list of product. So we're going to look into the shelf list of product to see if this product is there. So if this is going to be wh.columns.getI.products.getJ .equals .name .equals. I know this is a lot. That's what happens when you have like a lot of items. So the warehouse's shelves, the ith shelf of the warehouse, products, the J's products on that shelf, the name is equals to the name we put in, then that's the product that we want to retrieve. So we probably want to do like a product temp equals to null, and then temp equals to this wh.column.getI and products.getJ. That's the product because it matches the name. And then out here, if temp is not null, right? If it's null, that means we didn't find the product in the warehouse. We can just, if we did find the product, then we can just call retrieve temp. And boom, that's it. And then when we are returning, we're doing pretty much the same over here, right? We're just putting that product back. So we can just ask return, what's the return product name? Product return equals to new product. Return, oh yeah, return is keyword, that's why I can't use it. So return pro.name equals to name, and then wh.return product return pro. Now, say when we are returning, the human knows the ID, right? Because the worker will get the return thing and then be like, oh, that's the product ID. I'm just gonna put this product back in. But because we don't have a worker here, so we're just gonna give like a random ID for now. Because we don't have the worker to actually look at the barcode and put in the ID. So we're just gonna assign a ID ourselves like this. So this warehouse UI is just gonna loop through this and then just wait for command. So now what exactly are we doing in the main class? Well, we are initialize everything. What does that mean? That means we're going to initialize our warehouse WH equals new warehouse. And we probably want to also initialize warehouse UI, WH UI equals new warehouse UI. And if you remember the warehouse UI, the constructor take a warehouse in there. So the main class takes the warehouse UI takes the warehouse UI. And then now we can just do warehouse UI dot user interface. And that's it. That's all what's happening in the main. Everything else is taken care of by all the classes that we coded out. So the main class is actually super simple. So let's test this out to see if this works. So let's say I want to stock something. Product name is going to be orange juice. Whoa, okay. So bound must be positive. What is bound must be positive? So warehouse UI, stock, that's the problem, the stock, assign product, location. Oh yeah, because we don't have any robots and columns products yet. Okay, that's right. When we initialize warehouse, we have to add in some robots and shelves. So that's what we are gonna do. So let's create a warehouse constructor. And let's give it num robot, num columns. And then we can just say for int I equals 0, I smaller than num robots, I plus plus. We're just going to make a bunch of robot. And then robots.add rob. And then we're also just going to add a bunch of shelves. Put a semicolon in there. Column calls, new column. And then columns. Gonna add this call. There we go. Now we just, when we start the warehouse, we're just gonna put in some robot, put in some shelves. And then in the main class, the constructor. Now let's say, what do we want? Maybe 10 robot and maybe like 100 shelves, something like that. So let's see what's going on now. I want to stock what? I want to stock OJ. Robot is going to 0, 0. So that's because the first shelf is it's available. So robot pick up the 0, 0 shelf. Robot put it down to 0, 0 shelf, and then OJ is stock at 0, 0. Now, what if I want to stock again? Let's stock apple juice, AJ. Again, going to 0, 0. So seems like it's going to the first shelf again. Now, what if I want to retrieve? We want to retrieve OJ because OJ we know is stocked at 0, 0. So robot is going to 0, 0, returning. So pick up the OJ, pick up the shelf that has the OJ, and then put down the shelf that has OJ. And then what if I want to do return OJ? Again, going to 0, 0. I thought we implemented so that it gets a random column, right? What happened to that? Pick up, put down, go to column. So assign product. So what's going on? So warehouse, right? When we are stock, we want to assign the product location. Inside the assign product location, we want to find available column. So find available column. That should be are the next int columns the size. Oh, you know what? I know why they're all 0, 0. Because when we add the column, we didn't give them row and column. So the call has to be maybe I. So column.row is going to be maybe I. Column.column is going to be like maybe I times 2 or something. I just need to quickly finish this because I'm running out of time. So let's look at this again. So if I want to stock OJ, okay, now it's a random shelf. Great. Stock apple juice, that's a different shelf. I want to retrieve apple juice. Oh, did I? Oh, I think I put in extra. Put an extra space. If I want to retrieve OJ, and then yeah. So I put it at the column at 2550. When I retrieve that, it's going to 2550. So I know it's very confusing. I went kind of fast because we're kind of short on time. But really, basically, this is just a process of storytelling. I'm going to launch the post now while you guys listening to me, right? So throughout my whole coding is really just a storytelling. So when I create the warehouse, I want to create the robot, I want to create the column, right? That makes sense. And when I want to stock a product, I assign a product, and then I assign a product location. And then what does assign product location do? It's gonna find the available column, put the product on the column, and then let the robot go pick it up. Right? So it's like a story, right? There's nothing overtly difficult about this. It's hard to keep track during the class, probably because I went too fast. And also this is getting really long, right? But when you step back, that really makes sense, right? Each one of the steps makes sense. Like when you're stocking, when you're retrieving, right? You want to find the product, you find the column that's belonging to the product, and then you tell the robot to go there to pick it up, right? So it's very much a storytelling process. And hopefully that helps you guys to understand like how to design in a object-oriented way when you have a complex project. And then also oftentimes the user interface is also put into another object as well, like here. So a lot of the cases, a lot of the program, when you look at the main, is just like, it's just like this, very short. And then when you go into deeper, let's say when you go into WHUI user interface, you go in here, and now that's where the true code belongs. So in real life, right, the main method is going to be simple like that. And then when you go in there, you might see like might be printing out HTML code, right? Because it will be a web interface, or it might be an app interface. So it might be printing out HTML code instead of our scanner. All right, I'm running. I don't have time anymore. Yes, this will be posted on Canvas. So